The next lecture is going to be on something we call pharmacokinetics. Pharmacokinetics is defined as how the body handles the drugs. So when we give the patient a drug, what does the body do to that chemical in the body? Well, as we know, in order for the drug to have a therapeutic effect in the body, it needs to go through 4 pharmacokinetic processes. Those are absorption, distribution, metabolism, and excretion. If you think about the anatomy and physiology of the body and think about what parts of the body need to deal with these 4 pharmacokinetic processes, it will make sense that absorption occurs in the digestive system or the gastrointestinal system. The circulatory system is important for distribution. The liver is important for the metabolism of drugs, and the kidney is the primary excretory system of drugs or any chemicals in the body. So firstly, we're going to think about how drugs are handled by how the body handles these 4 pharmacokinetic processes with the chemical in the system. And the second part is thinking about the health of that body system, because if the digestive system is not functioning properly, then absorption could be affected. If the distribution or circulatory system is not working properly, how the drug gets to where it needs to be might be affected. Absorption in the body occurs because solutions move from one concentration to another and through crossing body membranes. And this occurs via 2 pathways: a passive transport, which is simple diffusion, or an active transport. Diffusion is the movement of a chemical from an area of higher concentration to lower concentration. Active transport, in contrast, requires the movement of a chemical agent against a concentration gradient and often requires energy. Plasma membranes are a part of the body tissues that consist of a lipid bilayer. Therefore, lipid-soluble molecules pass more easily through the process of diffusion, whereas non-lipid-soluble or water-soluble chemicals require the active transport system. So let's first look more in detail about the first pharmacokinetic process called absorption. Absorption occurs through plasma membranes via the skin and mucous membrane linings of the gastrointestinal tract or the respiratory tract. The process of absorption primarily gives us a determination of the length of time it will take the drug to have an effect in the body, which makes sense because if we have to work with a drug going through the GI tract, it has to go through the breakdown and the dissolving of it before it can go through the plasma membranes and into the bloodstream. In contrast, when we think of topical drugs, it's going to go through into absorption a lot more quickly because we're putting the drug on a membrane that has rich capillary supply once the blood is absorbed through it. Lastly, if you remember the definition of parenteral drugs, absorption is almost immediate because we're putting the drug either into the intravenous system or close by in the muscle or the subcu tissue or the intradermal tissue, where it quickly and readily goes through the capillaries and is absorbed. If we think about the enteral drugs for a moment and absorption, we looked at the fact that there were tablets, capsules, and elixirs or liquids. Again, thinking about the principles of absorption and how quickly things get absorbed based on the type of product it is, as well as where it is put in the system. A tablet is going to take longer to break down and get absorbed than a liquid, for example. So a liquid theoretically will have a faster onset of action versus a tablet or a capsule. Additionally, the patient's digestive abilities or the status of their gastrointestinal tract plays a role in the rate of absorption. So for example, if somebody has a problem with bleeding active ulcers in their stomach or small intestine, the mucosal membranes that are healthy to allow absorption to occur are going to be limited. Therefore, the process of absorption is going to be delayed and affected considerably. Additionally, if the patient has a GI problem, for example, with a slow peristalsis, that too will slow down the absorption as the enteral product will take longer to go through the digestion that it needs. Other complicating factors that relate to absorption relate to possible interactions with other chemicals in the digestive system at the same time. And this is something that you're going to learn and read about when you read about different drugs. Chemicals in the body that can interact with drug chemicals include molecules or chemicals in food, molecules and chemicals in beverages, in other drugs, in things like herbal supplements, in vitamins, and in minerals. And these drug or drug food or drug beverage or drug herb interactions can affect absorption of one of the products in the system at the same time, and either cause the absorption of the other chemical to be increased or to be decreased. So in either direction, there is an adverse effect when two chemicals are in the system at the same time that have a negative interaction. Again, these are interactions that you're going to read about, and the rule of thumb is that if two drugs that are taken enterally have the potential to interact in a negative way during the pharmacokinetic phase of absorption, they should not be taken or ingested at the same time, and they should have a period of 2 hours in between the administration of each chemicals.